Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Peace Over Pieces podcast, a podcast concentrating on the problems of domestic abuse awareness. My name's Clara Baldwin, and the goal of this podcast is to interview domestic abuse victims to help spread awareness of the issue. While people in the audience at home can listen or make 100% donations to the specific victims they listen to and connect with. They can also make a general donation to help the fund for resources for victims as well. You can find all this information on peaceoverpieces.org. So now introducing our first guest on the podcast, Katie Cuscaden. Katie, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right.
Good. Could you please give us a little background on who you are and where you grew up and your upbringing in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born to my mother when my mother had just turned 18. And I don't have a very close relationship with my dad. I don't really know him very much. Born in Arkansas, lived in Missouri half of my childhood. So I was Midwest, born and raised.
Same here.
That's right. I went to public school. My parents grew up, tried to raise me Christian, but I kind of ended up not being religious very much at all.
Wow, your life sounds literally like mine so far.
Yeah, that's kind of usually that's my background. I have a lot of brothers and sisters.
Gotcha.
One brother, actually, 4 sisters, and I'm the oldest.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have one older brother and one younger sister. So same thing, kind of not a close relationship with my dad, close with my mom, public school,
yeah.
Midwest, yep. Where are you right now and what do you do for a living?
Yes, so I'm actually in Texas now, so not so much Midwest, but still. I feel so separated, but I ended up here because my mom is a nurse and left Missouri while I was in my domestic violence relationship. When I was in that abusive relationship, she actually moved for her job here to Texas. I was kind of left alone in Missouri after that with no other family. With my abuser, and that was kind of part of the reason that I felt so trapped too. But that's where I'm at now. I came to Texas. This was the only place I had family, so I wanted somewhere to start over.
Gotcha.
And I'm in Austin now. I started out in San Antonio, but I work in finance now.
Interesting backstory in you, Katie, is that I have no idea how we became Facebook friends, but we did follow each other a few years ago. And I remember that I was actually going through my own personal problems with my mom and dad in a domestic violence case. And at the time, I was younger and I was so ashamed and hiding everything that was going on in my life. But you were so transparent on Facebook, I remember, and you're open about your relationship and your domestic violence case, basically. And you went through, it was just super inspiring and amazing that you were honest enough to put yourself out there like that.
That's so sweet of you. And I don't know how we became friends either, but did you live in Columbia? Like, we both have the 573 area code.
Yeah, I did.
Probably gone to all the same schools. Were you Rockbridge or Hickman?
I was all 3. So I went to Rockbridge freshman year, Hickman sophomore year, and then Battle junior, senior. So are you Hickman or are you Rockbridge?
I went to Rockbridge one year, my sophomore year, Hickman for junior. And I dropped out of Hickman my senior year while I was in that relationship. I literally dropped out of high school.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I didn't even know that you went to Hickman. Yes, I like to start this off by asking you, before trouble started with your boyfriend regarding the domestic and or emotional abuse you went through, how did he treat you? Or how about, where did you meet him first of all?
Oh, very funny story. I met him on Twitter. He, I guess he was a grade older than I was, and he went to Hickman all 3 years of high school.
Yeah, so same school.
Yes, we never really saw each other at school. I posted like a sexy picture on Twitter, Twitter followers, and DM'd me. It all went down in the DMs.
Slid in the DMs.
Yeah, I was 17, I believe.
Right.
We were hanging out, I think, like the end of summer, and my birthday's in October. So I was about to turn 18.
So at first, how did he treat you as a boyfriend?
That, we had met on Twitter, right? So we had to hang out to kind of actually get to know each other. No history, no background there. It was a totally new person. And I had actually, right before him, dated someone who had a severe heroin addiction problem.
And how old were you when that started?
That relationship lasted much shorter, not even a year.
I gotcha.
So I was like 16, learning to drive and all that stuff.
Well, that's some heavy stuff, dating someone, with a heroin addiction.
It was, because by the time I found out about it, he had hidden it, and by the time I found out, I was really in love with him. He was my first love, that guy, the heroin addict. And his name was Dylan.
Gotcha.
I'll just say. And so after that relationship ended, I remember that summer, because it ended in the spring before Justin. Justin is the one who violently abused me. And I remember ending it with Dylan and feeling really just
down,
devastated. You know, first love breakup is the worst.
Absolutely. And you feel like your whole world is ending.
I know. I was like, I'll never love anyone.
Oh, yeah. Still to this day, I think that's the hardest heartbreak you have to, like, deal with when you're 15,
You'll
16.
Never forget. And it was really hard for me because it ruined my idea of trust, having somebody I dated and not knowing at all that whole time he was on heroin, and then finding out and literally just having to end the relationship because he had to get better. That's the only reason it ended. He moved to Texas and left, and that's when after that I remember thinking I actually wanted a boyfriend after that. I was excited to date someone better. I was like, I'm gonna do this single summer, and I'm actively like looking for a man. Something so childish of me, but that's what I felt like in this.
So Dylan led you to Justin, your second relationship.
I think I was kind of codependent after Dylan.
I see. Yes, and that's understandable. I got a taste
of having a relationship, and I didn't want it to be any other way. I was sort of an odd person in that way. I think most people would have taken a while to
not at all.
Get better
that's so common. I feel like when people are in relationships, they're relationships people, and I am definitely that person too. So Dylan, the second guy. So this is your main story of the domestic abuse case is with this guy, Justin. Okay, so Justin is the main guy.
I probably should have said Justin's name first.
No, it's okay. Justin is the main domestic abuse case. And so initially, how did he treat you in your relationship?
Yes. When it started out, just hanging out, trying to get to know each other, he was very closed off. It's really strange. I looking back now, I have no idea why I was attracted to this person. Right off the bat, he was odd and weird and off. He treated me like over text and stuff, like so just like a goddess. All the compliments. He was, honestly, if anything, pushing me away right from the beginning, which intrigued me and made me so curious that I kept hanging out with him. Like, why does this person, obviously he was attracted to me, we talk online, we text, and it's all fine and dandy, but in person, so closed down, shut off.
Right. It's so like reverse, like you're almost attracted to it. You want what you can't have.
Figure him out.
Yeah.
So curious.
Which is understandable, of course. What was the first, like, big red flag, like the first kind of situation that you came across regarding domestic abuse with him? And do you remember, like, how that played out and what happened during that?
Yes. I've thought about this a lot. Many times I have tried to go back in my memory and remember just the first time that he hit me. But what comes to mind is actually the first time something really, like, there was all those little red flags, him being closed off, but one day we went to see his friend. I was meeting his friend for like the second time. The first time going to his friend's house, his best friend Tavon. And so we went there to hang out and smoke, do teenager things.
Of course.
I was driving, I had the car, and I was pulling up into the apartment complex. And as we pulled up, he was off all day. He was acting strange. And I just was like, what's wrong? You know, I kind of had been hinting at trying to get him to open up about it. But I flat out asked when we pulled up, because we were there, and he was acting very strange, almost mad at me. I asked, what's wrong? And he said, shut the fuck up, and closed the door of the car and walked up to his friend's door, his apartment door. And I'm sitting in the car like, what? And Justin was kind of staring at me from the door to Tavon's, like he was waiting on me to get out of the car so he could knock or ring the doorbell or let Tavon know we were there.
Yeah.
But I was kind of just shocked, like, what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I hadn't done anything. We hadn't gotten in an argument. All I asked was what was wrong. And so I decided, stupidly, I think at that moment, I had the conscience to think I should either leave or I'm going to walk up and I'm diving into this person. At that moment, something was wrong with him. And I had the conscious thought of I should either drive away and end this now and save myself a load of pain.
That's so scary.
Or I'm going to go and investigate this person. And so I did the latter. I closed the door, I walked up to him, and I was like, what the hell was that? And he just knocked on the door. Wouldn't give me an explanation. So then we're in his friend's house. I'm awkwardly sitting on the couch, super disturbed. and feeling like I was in trouble, like,
as anyone would.
And I had no idea why. Right. And so the whole time we're sitting there, it's really awkward for me, and they're just chatting like I'm not there, smoking together, passing it to me, but I'm not a part of this conversation or this hangout. I'm just there. And I was waiting for it to be over so he could tell me. And halfway through, about like an hour or two we were there, halfway through being there, he starts acting normal and happy again, and like looking at me, like apologizing with his eyes from across the room almost. I feel a little bit better because I was like, okay, I can tell that he's like gonna
at least has a little
this.
sympathy.
Right. So then as we left, I'm like, finally he's gonna tell me. And we get in the car and I was like, what the hell? Like, you can't just tell me to shut the fuck up and not tell me what's going on. Why are you mad at me? And he said, I'm not mad at you. Me and my mom got in a fight over the text, and it just had me in such a mood, and I didn't feel like talking about it. He had some sort of excuse like that.
Oh, fuck that, always.
I was like, oh, okay, can you just, like, be more open with me next time? And I thought maybe it was just...
You're being really super mature.
Right. But it was little things like that. And then anytime I hung out with my two best friends, he was texting me every second. Super possessive.
Oh, of course.
And those were my first big red flags. And honestly, the way I felt after each time he would do something like possessive or just put the blame on me for something he was feeling, anytime he did something like that, before the hitting started, I always just felt really confused and like I just needed to figure it out and understand him better.
And that's a terrible thing to feel in a relationship. You're just trying to figure out yourself internally, and they're just controlling everything. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Was me, yeah, placing the blame or just always trying to fix it. Like, I'm the mature one. I'm the one with all this emotional knowledge that I need to bestow onto him, and I kind of just took up that responsibility as like a challenge.
Fixing him.
Which is a codependent tendency.
Of course. That was the verbal, like the first big red flag. And
yes,
then
those were like the signs, the little things that I should have nipped in the bud.
And it's just manipulation almost, and you just kind of get caught up in that moment, but you move on because you're dating that person, you like them. So from then, what led to the physical? At what point after that, how long do you think it was till it escalated?
I think Justin was never emotionally intelligent enough to realize he was the manipulator. I don't think he realized his behaviors were manipulative and isolating me. But that's what they were doing. And he didn't maybe consciously make these decisions to manipulate and isolate me. But subliminally, that's what his goal was. I don't think he was a smart enough person to actually have, like, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you isolate a girl. That was his goal, deep down.
His nature, he had no idea, but he was just doing it. He should have been aware, but...
And that's what the sad part is about it, is that I knew that he wasn't some, like, sociopath, psychopath person. Like,
yeah.
He wasn't totally, even a narcissist. He knew that there was something wrong with him. And he wanted to change and be better, but he didn't know how. And I took up that, I can help, because I feel that my life has developed me into a helper.
And that's a common thing in, domestic abuse. There's one person with internal issues, and there's one person who's the healer and the nurturer, and it's just an uneven balance the whole time.
I don't think they all realize it. It's when you hear about domestic violence and abuse, and even growing up before you're even dating, they warn you, right?
Yeah.
To look for these things, and they don't all fit that. He definitely didn't. It was definitely something over time, but the violence started when I started standing up for myself,
Because then he feels like you're a threat.
Right. Like, I'm defending my right to hang out with my friends alone, and that's a problem for him. Because even though he might not have realized it, he was trying to isolate me and make me all his and make it so that I didn't want to leave because he was my only friend and my boyfriend. And I didn't realize, I wasn't telling him, like, you can't isolate me. I just didn't understand. So I started standing up for myself and trying to make him understand the things he was doing wrong in our relationship. And this is the part that always confuses me, because it's not like he just slapped the shit out of me. It was hugging me really tightly when I was upset, making sure, like, not letting me go, even though I said I don't want to be hugged right now. Then that kind of gradually got into
more intense.
He would put his mouth over my mouth when I was talking or something like that and try to shut me up physically. And then it got to choking, grabbing my throat, and then punching and slapping. And it was always just fights. We were always fighting verbally for that. Because I was basically teach this person how to be a decent fucking human being.
Of course.
Much less boyfriend.
That's devastating.
And it was exhausting always. And when the verbal fighting, just, you're comfortable enough, I guess he got comfortable enough to just hit me instead of verbally fighting, because it didn't happen right away. And I actually remember him admitting to me one day that his last relationship ended because he punched the girl and she left after that one punch. And I wondered, after like a year of being with this person and realizing I'd been putting up with lots of physical abuse and excusing it every time. It was multiple times a week. It was not every day.
Yeah.
But it was 2-3 times a week. And it's hard to pinpoint when it happened, but it starts with verbal arguing. Verbal arguing escalates to verbal abuse. And the verbal abuse, if you're dating somebody who gets physical, after a certain point, it was always the arguing just led to a certain point, and he lost his complete control, and it was just pure rage.
They're almost like in a manic mode, and like they're not there. They don't even know what their name is. Almost, it's just they're in the zone, and like it's the scariest thing ever.
It's really animalistic, definitely.
The physical abuse lasted for how long? Would you say you dealt with it?
Yeah. So I think it started just a couple months into our relationship. That 3 to 6 months. I think that's about when it got, me standing up for myself turns to arguing, turns to violent. And I dealt with it the whole time we were together, and we were together for 2 years.
Which honestly should be like the honeymoon stage, 3 to 6 months. It's very common, but yeah, just thinking about it, like that's the time you should be almost shy with each other still. But
right, and part of that's a good point. What I had mentioned earlier, my mom leaving Missouri.
Yes.
She left shortly into that relationship. I just kind of started dating him. And without getting really into the weeds, my family life and my whole just upbringing, it's been rocky. My family's a little dysfunctional. My mom and I, we don't always get along, but I know she's always got my back, and she would do anything for me. But I was kind of at that spot of your life, leaving high school, going to college.
Yeah, that phase where you need parents.
Right.
Like, yeah.
You're kind of leaving the nest, right?
Right, and you just entered this terrible relationship.
Well, it wasn't, it was before it got terrible. It was, we were dating, and she, honestly, I think she looked at it as, it's like, oh, good, Katie's starting to date, she's in college, like, I can leave now. She's good. And,
I see.
Took my younger siblings with her, and so I had no family left. And I was in college, trying to juggle college, a job, and my boyfriend. And that's when I decided to move in with him, even though we had barely been dating.
Right.
And he was living with
you
his
had
mom.
No support system with you. He was the easy one to lean on.
Right. That isolated me. Without my mom she didn't have the intent to isolate me, but I isolated myself instead of going with her or trying to be independent. I decided to use him as a crutch to getting myself independent. Okay, I'll just live with Justin until I can get my own apartment, which never happened.
Of course.
And we only had a bedroom. We had his bedroom, and his house was full of people. He had his brother living there, 2 of his brothers, and his mom, and his stepdad.
Oh, wow. So you lived with his family while all of this was going on.
They listened, they heard, they
Shut
watched.
up. And they just never intervened, ever.
No, they did at first. And then it got to the point they were used to it, so they didn't care.
My God.
So I would literally be getting, like, the shit beat out of me in the room next door, and people were all around the house just ignoring it.
Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. So you lived with him for how many months or years? 2 years, you said?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
That is just beyond me. Holy shit. After 2 years, did you try to escape before the 2 years from that situation?
No, it was never like me planning my escape type thing. It was always
just kind of dealing with it day by day.
Stuck. I felt like I either have to leave everyone I've ever known and grown up with and gone to school with my whole life behind, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to stay in Columbia, Missouri and make my start there. I just wanted to get off my feet there. And when my mom moved away, she didn't realize how it was with Justin and I. I was always really ashamed. I didn't really want to tell many people at first.
That's common.
I started venting and stuff about it on Facebook was because I was completely isolated. And I had even been hiding it from my friends, and I was gasping. That was my way of just, and I also knew that because we were going to festivals, music was our thing, going to concerts. We had kind of like a posse of people who were like our acquaintances, like our group, you know?
Yeah, gotcha.
People who knew his face, who knew of him, and knew we dated. We have that community, that music community, that we're all acquaintances, maybe not best friends, but people know things about people in that community, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Kind of like a clique in high school. So I knew that if I was putting this out there about him, that people would see this and then see us together. I was doing it to myself. I was like, because I hated how I felt afterward, like after a huge fight or after a huge violent thing, if I went and told a bunch of people on Facebook about it, I always delete it. And
absolutely. Yeah.
I started leaving it because I thought I knew I needed to leave about a year in. I just didn't have the strength to do it because you also love someone. There's good parts too. It's not all bad.
Of course, there's up and downs, but
attached.
Yeah. And then posting on Facebook, that probably held yourself accountable by leaving it instead of deleting it. Because it's like you look at your wall and you're like staring at it. And you're like, all right, maybe I do need to get out of this situation. I'm reading exactly what I hate about this relationship.
And I knew that other people, more and more people were finding out every single time I did that, which was embarrassing, but it helped motivate me to be so embarrassed that I didn't want to be with him anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. And it's not embarrassing at all. I mean, to you, yes. But I mean, even when I was reading it, like you had no idea who I was and I had no idea who you were. But when I read it, I was like, this is just insane. Like, it's honestly inspiring that she's posting this, but I hope she gets to a good place. And like, it's like the people reading it obviously can't do anything but reach out and hope you're okay. But yeah, I just remember I was in that situation. I'm like, damn, I don't have any guts in me to do something like this. But yeah, no, it was a good step to take to get out of that. So what was the last straw for you and Justin?
This one I do know. I can't remember how it started the first time, but I remember the last straw. So I think about a year in, I knew, okay, this is an abusive relationship. I identified it, you know, this is not normal. I've let this go on kind of thing, even though I shouldn't have. And there was many times I should have left. So I started planning. It was never, I could have left at any time. It would have been dramatic and a huge thing, but I threatened so many times to leave, and I would go get all my stuff packed up, put it all in my car, and not go. It was always a threat. Yeah. I just wanted to have the power. It was always a power struggle, like a tug of war. He had the power when he was hurting me, but afterward, I had the power because he just hurt me, and I can leave or I can stay.
Exactly. And that's when they become all sweet and they try to, kiss up to you. Like watching my parents, I feel like that was always an episode that happened once a month. My mom would pack everything and then, my dad would buy her flowers. And when I saw the flowers on the table, that meant, oh, they had a terrible fight last night and now she's coming back. Yes.
And it kind of feels good when you're like, twistedly, it feels good. Like, like now I'm in power.
It's just
I know I'm not
battle.
Gonna get hurt for a couple of days because he can't do that back to back. He doesn't. There's a pattern you start to notice and live by, and it's your survival guide. And he would do all the sweet stuff and the mushy stuff, and I started making my plan. Like, okay, I can't just keep letting this pattern take place, even though it hurts so bad to when he's vulnerable and apologizing. It feels really bad to just say, I don't forgive. So I started making a plan to remove myself even though I didn't want to, which is really weird, but that's how it was. I was like, I have to get the fuck out of here, even though I don't think I have the strength to. So I told him, I was like, I'm going to take a trip to California to see my dad and brother, who I haven't seen in a long time. And I went there and didn't actually know if I was going to come back.
Just up and leave.
Position it as like, I'm coming back, and then make myself get stuck there, tell them how bad it is, and maybe they'll just hold me there hostage. But when I got there, I decided I didn't really want to live there for many reasons. And so I came back, and on my way back, I got pulled over in Wyoming and arrested with weed.
Oh my gosh.
It was a huge sign.
Yes.
Because it was really weird how I got pulled over, and I had to go back for a court date. And I went back with him a couple months later.
With Justin.
And this is where the last straw happened.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a miracle. The last straw was we were going to see a concert, and it happened to be a couple days after my court date. So we just made the trip to Wyoming, did the court date in the hotel there, got in a huge fight with alcohol involved, where we were drinking like these like twisted tea type things you could buy at the gas station.
Dangerous.
And we're at the hotel after the court date, just going to sleep there for the night and then make the road trip to Colorado where the concert was. So that night in Wyoming in this hotel, we get in a fight. Can never remember what it's ever about, but always an argument where he then puts his hands on me. And then I'm defending myself. That's always how it was. I never put hands on him first. Never. Mm-hmm. And I can say that confidently. But this drink that he had, I smacked it out of his hand or something, and it cut his finger, the little can, the aluminum. And he started attacking me after that, and blood got all over the walls, the sheets. His finger was gashed so bad.
Oh my gosh.
Stitches. Yes. And after that, we're in terrible mood the next day, get over the fight. Eventually, hours and hours later, it's 2 a.m. probably by the time we're like, okay, let's go to sleep. And the next morning, it's just eyes puffy, that terrible shit feeling of fight last night.
Terrible.
So we get in the car. Just a bad vibe to the day, And we go to the Colorado, and I was going to stay with my grandma, who lives in Colorado, stay in her house. And she'd been seeing my Facebook posts up to this point, basically outing him as physical abuser. And she gave us such a hard time the whole time we were there. It was awesome. Yeah, she would very snidely, make a remark. I said I was clumsy at one point because I dropped some coffee or something. She goes, oh, but it doesn't matter. Right, Justin?
Go fucking grandma. My grandma would beat his ass.
I can't believe she let him stay in his house.
Yeah, that just shocks me alone.
But she did, and we left her house after getting set up there to go, smoke, because we're in Colorado, right?
Of course.
So we had, this joint or something, and I can't remember what we were fighting about, of course, but we're in the car, and he wanted to smoke this joint, and I had been arrested with pot, and I didn't want to in the car, even though it was Colorado.
Oh, no, a second time. Right. So California, then Colorado.
Right.
Shoot.
No. So we fight, and it got even more. It was more than just that. There was something else. It was a big deal, and we're in the car, and I was driving. He's choking me while I'm driving.
You fucking serious?
Punching me while I'm driving, fucking with me while I'm driving in downtown Denver, which is a crazy place to drive.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was. And so I stopped the car on the shoulder, wherever we were, and because it was like I was about to get in a wreck, and he was hitting me, and it was violent. I literally stopped the car so we could fight each other in the car, right? And he grabs my shoulders and headbutts me into oblivion. I got out of the car, almost just completely manic and having a panic attack type. I got out of the car, freaking the fuck out. These girls, these women in their house had seen us in the car and heard us, and were already on their porch. Are you okay, honey? Are you okay? As I'm bolting out into the middle of the road out of this car, parked on the side of the road where it shouldn't be anyway, and I literally dove into a bush and it had a cave in it. It was it was there for me, and I was inside a bush.
It was there for me. It was destiny.
It was the bush of safety.
Oh my gosh.
I was just sobbing.
Oh.
And Justin didn't know where it was. It was where I could see the car, but he couldn't really see from where he was where I was. And I could see the car circling the block, and I knew he was there. I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't want to be around him, and I couldn't anymore. And I felt my mouth, and my face was hurting, and my tooth was chipped. And I've had a lot of dental work done, and I take pride in my teeth.
What the
tooth being chipped.
He headbutt your fucking tooth.
That was my last straw. It hurts. It hurts really bad. It goes away after a while, but the tingly, like the nerve feeling, it hurt worse than anything he'd ever done to me, the chipped tooth. And it's expensive to fix. I still have the tooth chip in my mouth.
And just a headbutt in general. It's just over my head. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So how do you even get out of that situation? You're out of state, and these women are screaming at you. You're in the bush that's saving you. How did you get out of that?
Well, I ran away from them and dove into the bush to make sure that they weren't going to be able to, like, actually help me. I never wanted the police to come. I never wanted him to get arrested.
Wow.
And even then. So I ran away to get away from their help, and they stopped chasing me. And they didn't see me in the bush. But I think when I was sitting there, I was like, I just need to calm down. Like, I need to gather myself. Because I knew it was about to get... Like, when he headbutted me, he'd never done that before. Ever.
Yeah, that's extreme.
I thought in that moment, he's going to kill me if I don't leave this relationship. He is going to hurt me so bad on accident that I either, like, bleed out or something, you know? And I don't know. I was just imagining all these ways that I was going to end up dead if I stayed with
Understandably.
him. I was sitting there, just trying to gather myself and hype myself up. I was like, I have to fucking leave him after this. I knew that I had to get back in that car eventually. I had to find him eventually and go back home with him to Missouri.
Oh, I can't imagine getting in the car again. I'd fucking Uber back. Like, you are strong.
Well, he was looking for me and driving around, and then cops started driving around because I think the ladies
called the
that were trying
police.
to help me originally called the police, and
Yes.
they were circling the block too. So I waited for a moment when he had driven around like for the 50th time, and I just walked up to the car. He kept driving in the same circle. And I just walked up, got in the car. I very vividly remember being proud of myself because I didn't want to keep arguing, and I'm very stubborn. I was like, don't even talk to me. Let's just smoke and go home. And we did. We smoked and in the car, even though that's not what I wanted to do and kind of what started everything. And went to our concert that weekend. The concert was terrible. It was a festival, so it was 3 days camping, and every fucking day was a fight, physical or verbal. It was terrible. It was
Sounds
so terrible. It was
terrible.
torture. So when I got home, I called my mom, and I said, Mom, she kind of knew at this point. I was like, I have to get out of here. I have to start over. I need to come live with you. So we made a plan, but I wanted time to, like, prepare for that. I didn't want to do it right away. So
Yes.
I set the ticket to go September 10th, and it was like July at this point. And I used that time to say goodbye to my friends, hang out with people that I had totally isolated myself from from the beginning of the relationship. And he knew I was leaving, but I told him that I just wanted a break and that I was going to be back together with him so that he wouldn't do crazy shit.
Right, you gotta play the game.
Exactly.
So that's the last straw. So you moved to Texas. You moved in with your mom after that situation.
Yes.
Do you have your place now, or are you still living with her?
Oh, yeah. I live with my new boyfriend, Reed, who's amazing.
Aww.
And we met when I first moved here. He lived in Austin, so I live in Austin now. I started out in San Antonio.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And so how old are you now?
I'm 24 in a couple of months, so I'm 23 going on 24.
You've come a long way from that rocky path.
It was... I think my mom moving here was like destiny because I found Reed, and we truly are just like a match made in heaven. The first time we hung out was because one of my friends from Missouri knew him from festival. Like I said, this music community, like I'm friends with all these people who go to festivals and travel the world, and we're all like kind of long distance internet friends, it feels like a lot of the time.
Right.
She knew Reed from a festival and knew me from like elementary school. Like we really had known each other a long while, but she knew that Reed and I moved to Texas around the same time and knew that we were both in the music and told us that we should hang out. And he messaged me, and I was kind of like blowing him off all the time. I didn't really want to date anyone or hang out with a guy for that matter.
Oh, of course.
But we decided to, after a long time of me blowing him off. He drove to San Antonio from Austin, which is like a 2-hour drive in a car.
Oh.
He did the drive on a moped. It took him like 4 hours.
A moped on highways?
So then he gets to me in San Antonio, and we had like a whole Lizzie McGuire day, you know. Like, it's so cute.
I love it.
And we couldn't stop talking, couldn't stop laughing. Compatible. Not a silent weirdo that I was trying to figure out.
Of course, yeah. And when you know, you know. So I feel like we have kind of similar backgrounds because I was in that situation with my family when I was younger. I was just got out of high school, just graduated, literally the day after graduation. My mom was like, I need to leave your dad finally since you're out of high school. They had a terrible relationship, very severe physical and emotional abuse. And so she moved to Kansas City. And I was like, okay, this is destiny, I guess. Like, I will move to Kansas City someday. Met this wonderful guy because I've had my fair share of terrible relationships too, but everything really happens for a reason.
It totally does.
I know.
It's so amazing.
And now that you look back, you're like, is that even my life? It's just like almost watching TV in your head. Like, that was an episode, and when you watch it, you're like, I just can't believe it. I just can't wrap my head around it.
I can't believe it was 2 years. That's always what gets me.
Yes.
Mind-boggling to me.
And so, how do you cope and heal with such terrible memories? What advice can you give to victims post-domestic abuse? Because people don't realize sometimes it's not even the time during domestic abuse that is the worst. Sometimes the mental strain after getting out of that situation and the helplessness you feel afterwards can just push women into depression and isolation. So what did you do to keep your head high after? Because it can be hard once you move.
Yeah, I think the recovery after I moved, being alone was definitely mentally harder, and just the entire relationship, just going from this person that's like a drug to you. I always compared it to drug addiction.
Yeah, you're like in a bubble.
A drug addict,
oh yeah,
they know it's terrible for them. They know they're destroying their lives, and the people that love them around them are being affected by it so greatly. And it's all the same symptoms. You're just addicted to the person and the love that they do have available. So afterward, the way that I kind of coped and dealt with it, first of all, I think the most important thing that people need to find some way to do if they're finding themselves in an abusive relationship, physically abusive, it's not enough to just break up with that person, because you're sick too. You have, I always call it an addiction to that person.
That's extremely mature to admit.
You know, and people always ask, how could you stay with somebody like that? Because codependency is probably one of the hugest factors in women that make them stay.
Yes.
Thinking they have to fix them, or just getting attached and getting complicit.
It's almost in our nature. We just want someone, depend on someone, them depend on us.
And we're nurturers, women are.
Yes.
And it's more often than not that women are in violent, abusive relationships, but it's also men too, because women take advantage of the fact that they can hit without getting hit back, which is sad.
Yeah.
So for anyone, any gender, anyone who finds themselves in a relationship where they're being physically abused and they love the person so much that they can't leave, and the person isn't changing or trying to, you've got to get completely away. I think the biggest thing that helped me heal was being so far away that I couldn't go back. And I knew that that's what it would take for me. I knew that I couldn't control myself when it came to him.
Absolutely.
And if you realize that, and you know you need to leave, but you can't seem to bring yourself to do it, you have to force yourself to do it. And that's what I did. And so I think step one, get the fuck out of there. You can't go back if you want to. And maybe that's something you have to handle metaphorically. Maybe some people have more strength than I do, and they can actually leave the person and maybe live in the same city. I knew I couldn't. So
most people can't, honestly.
Really. And if you find yourself saying, I don't think I can, then you have got to save up your money. In my situation, I had my mom to go to. But I know some people literally have no one.
Yeah, and that's the saddest thing.
Mm-hmm. So when I got to my mom's house, of course, just depression. I was having sleep paralysis all the time, which was something I had never really dealt with, but heard about exactly. And it was stress-induced sleep paralysis. And I was experiencing that all the time. It was terrible. But what I did was just my plan was, okay, how do I start over? I got to find a new job in this new place. I've got to...
It's a lot.
I had lost my car, everything. And I had dropped out of college because I was so, like, had my priorities so fucked up about this guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do? I literally, like, dropped out of college. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. And I'm in a new place and I don't know anyone. So I started riding the bus to concerts because that was always my thing, my hobby, my love, my passion, music, listening to it. And I made a friend at one of these concerts. The first one I went to, I made a friend. And that person ended up taking me to every concert after that. So I didn't have to ride the bus to concerts at night, which is kind of sketchy in San Antonio, Texas. And just making myself go, even though I was so depressed and so antisocial, just making myself go to something.
Just getting out.
Yes, that I knew I loved and that I would be normally passionate about if I wasn't in such a funk. I knew I had to force myself to do things. Even though I didn't want to. So I forced myself to go to concerts, forced myself to get a shit job, like at a shoe store, retail, something.
Yeah.
and just to be around people.
Just get that routine. Just feel normal again.
Yeah. Try to find some foundation of a life again and just do the routine, survival. It was all about survival.
Yes.
I was living in a garage in the dead heat of summer, like in September in San Antonio.
Shut up.
It's still as hot as July. My mom's garage. That's all she had for me. Like, it was
dreadful.
But it gave you something to do. Like, I was constantly being challenged.
Yeah, and with that, you're probably like, I want to get the hell out of the house because it's friggin' hot.
Right, yeah. Like,
maybe it was a blessing.
My way out of here. Yes, so
just routine would be like the advice.
Find your routine. Make yourself. Make yourself.
I love that.
Find your plan, make your plan, and follow it no matter what.
Yeah.
And eventually things just...
small steps will turn into a great life.
Yeah, and this quote once that I've always held so dear to me in regards to this situation was, the universe loves courage.
I love that.
If you're brave enough to just take that step and do something about your situation, to make changes, to get out of that comfort zone.
Manifest it and it'll happen.
Exactly. Things just, things fall into place.
That's amazing. Well, I am so happy for you. Honestly, this podcast has been just so good. You have such good energy about you, and I'm just so happy that you're in a good place now. You have no idea how many people this may touch as a podcast. I'm glad that you're our first guest, and I hope that you continue to touch people's lives because you've touched mine so far. I know it's hard to open up so personally. I do appreciate your time, and I hope you have the best time in Texas. I wish you the best of luck. Like, what's your goals now? Do you have any plans in Texas, like job-wise or just personally, that you want to share?
Sure, yeah. So my whole thing with dropping out of college because of that relationship severely hurt my self-esteem, and I thought I would always work like a shitty dead-end job that I wasn't passionate about.
Yeah.
But I kept working hard, and my work experience alone got me into a real career, like a salaried career. So I work at Charles Schwab as a retirement specialist. I'm licensed as a broker and an advisor. Yeah.
Great.
I worked my butt off, and it feels so good to finally have all of this stability. And this is what it's all about. Every struggle you've ever been through is about getting to this place. And for every person, this place is different. But I feel like I am thriving. I'm finally in my youth, feeling how I should. I shouldn't be feeling depressed and going through trauma my entire youth. This is my destiny. I'm working my way up the finance ladder, corporate ladder.
You've already made it.
I get a chance to talk about this. I honestly do love it because you do not know who's listening. You do not know what people are going through, even if it's not violence.
Oh, absolutely. Even when you posted on Facebook, you had no idea I was probably listening. And then it just warped us here. It does make a difference. Yeah, thank you so much again. This will definitely be our first podcast, first guest. I wish you the best of luck in life. You're awesome, and I'm sure people will be reaching out to you. Thank you so much, Katie.
You're fantastic, and you did great interviewing.
I tried.
This is so important.
Yes, of course. Thank you. You have a good one.
Right. Bye, Clara.
All right, bye.